I am finally here. How are you guys doing? Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I am going to get my Facebook up and running on my phone because for some reason I don't see the comments on Facebook unless I'm having my phone. But as you guys come in, let's say good afternoon to each other. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Hello, 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 hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Let's do some music, some nice instrumental. Welcome in, guys. I missed this morning live because my daughter was sick. I missed this morning live because my daughter was sick. All right, I think that music is kind of loud. I missed this morning live because my daughter was sick, but I'm here. I wanted to stay true to my commitment. So if you are here, say hello so I can say hi. And if you don't want to say hi, it's also okay. Some people are shy, right? But today's topic is getting rid of toxic or letting go of toxic relationships. That's what we're talking about tonight. Toxic relationships. Toxic relationships, right? And as you come in, I would love to interact with you. If you come in and say good evening, and I don't see your comment right away, I will see your comment. So don't think I'm ignoring you. All right. So today's conversation is not about cutting people off out of anger. It is about understanding what happens when relationships stop nurturing your growth and it begins to drain your sense of self. Now, I am reading from my notes. If you see me watching to the side, I'm reading my notes. I just don't have all this in my head, right? So I do read my notes. Feel free to say hello when you come in. I'd love to interact with you. I'm playing around with the time because when I come early morning, hi Biggs, hi, good morning, good afternoon. When I come early in the morning, I'm playing around with the time with what works best for people and my viewers. So you guys let me know what works best and I will try to work around that. But welcome in, Big Mish, welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for commenting, Big Mish. If you're commenting on TikTok, hello, how are you doing? If you're coming in on YouTube, hello, how are you doing? If you're coming in on Facebook, hello, how are you doing? I'm streaming live from my platform, so I'm on different platforms. So I'm on different pages, so you guys can comment, but I can see them all. So yes, we're talking about relationships and toxic relationships, and it's not about letting go of the relationship because you're angry, right? We're talking about and we're going to go down into different steps of how we can get rid of or release ourselves, not necessarily get rid of, but release ourselves from toxic relationships. Um, so the first part that we're going to unlayer is talking about how do you know that a relationship is toxic. It is about understanding what happens when that relationship stop nurturing your growth and begin to drain your sense of self. Many people speak about peace as if it arrives once life becomes quiet. Real peace often begins when you make difficult decisions about who has access to your energy. Releasing a toxic relationship is rarely loud. It is often a slow realization that you feel smaller, more anxious, or constantly misunderstood. So it's usually, I'm going to put on my glasses, y'all. It's usually feels smaller. more anxious, or constantly misunderstood in spaces that once felt safe. So it's people that you know that after a while you stop feeling safe around, right? And this life is not about blame. This life is not about blame. It is about awareness. So our first subtopic is what makes a relationship toxic. What makes your relationship toxic? Toxicity is not simply disagreement. Healthy relationships allow room. Healthy relationships allow room for differences. Healthy relationships allow room for differences. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Healthy relationships allow room for differences. Toxic relationships create imbalance. One person carries emotional labor while the other avoids accountability. Conversations leave you feeling confused instead of understood. And here are some signs many people ignore. And these signs are constant criticism. Do you know somebody who always constantly criticize you? And then sometimes we interpret it, or we misinterpret it for, oh, that person is just concerned. But that could be one reason of a toxic friendship. When you constantly have someone who criticizes you, feeling responsible for another person's emotional stability. That's another toxic trait. Walking on emotional eggshells. Have you ever been in a room, guys, and you're scared to say something because you know that person is going to snap? You're scared to say something because you know that person is going to snap. Hi, Angie. Good morning. Good afternoon. Say good morning. Good afternoon, Angie. Thank you for being here. Have you ever been, guys? You can talk to me. Have you ever been in a room and you feel like you're walking on eggshells, even in a relationship, like a past relationship? Have you ever been in a past relationship where you feel like, oh my God, if I say something, I'm walking on eggshells? I don't know. I have been in that room. I have been in a room where I feel like I am walking on eggshells. I don't know about y'all. I know about me, right? Being made to feel guilty for growing and changing. Sometimes people would make you feel guilty for growing. You used to call your friend every day, but now because you're growing, you're in a different space and environment, you're not calling, and now that person gonna call you and make you feel guilty. Girl, you don't call me no more, you don't this. Yeah, because people sometimes, that's a toxic friendship. They sometimes try to make you feel guilty because you're no longer that person that they knew. High intelligence means recognizing patterns rather than reacting to single moments. A toxic dynamic is built over time through repetition. The question is not whether someone has flaws. The question is whether the relationships allows both people to evolve. Subtopic number 2. Why letting go feels so hard? Many individuals remain in draining relationships because many individuals remain in draining relationships because history feels heavier than the present. Shared memories create emotional contracts that are difficult to release. There is also fear of being misunderstood. Sometimes we stay in relationships because we fear of being misunderstood. Hello, Kimel. How are you, my dear? How are you? Fear of being misunderstood. All right. Fear of loneliness, fear of appearing cold. Sometimes we don't want to come out or release a relationship because we don't want to appear like being cold. But here's it: peace does not grow in spaces where you must constantly shrink to maintain connection. If you have to shrink yourself to maintain connection, that is not an aligned relationship. The nervous system becomes conditioned to familiar chaos. Y'all hear that? The nervous system becomes conditioned to familiar chaos. Even when a relationship hurts, it may still feel normal because it is known. Letting go requires stepping into emotional uncertainty. Growth often begins when comfort ends. Growth often begins when comfort ends. Right? Do you guys agree with that? Growth often growth often begins when comfort ends. Number 3, emotional intelligence versus emotional attachment. So let's dive into emotional attachment and emotional development. Emotional development or emotional attachment says, I have invested too much to walk away. Have you ever, can you recall saying those things? I can't walk away because I got too much involved. That is what's called emotional attachment. Emotional attachment says, I have invested too much to walk away. Whereas emotional intelligence asks, what is this costing me today? What is it costing me to be in this relationship? What is it costing me to be in this friendship? A high level of self-awareness means when loyalty becomes self-abandonment. You can love someone deeply and still acknowledge dynamic is no longer healthy. You can love someone deeply and still acknowledge that the dynamics is still no longer healthy. All right? Are you guys hearing me? Hi, Rudy. I look like I'm a teacher. I'll take that compliment, Rudy. All right. And so I probably look, Rudy, I'm probably looking like I'm a teacher because I have on the glasses. Right? Are you guys there with me? I want to make sure that you guys are there with me. Releasing someone does not always require confrontation. Y'all hear that? Releasing someone does not always require confrontation. Sometimes it looks like reducing access, speaking less, observing more, redirecting your energy towards spaces that allow you to breathe without tension. Peace is not the absence of people. It is the presence of alignment. I'm going to say that again. Peace is not the absence of people. It is the presence of alignment. Number 4, the physical impact of toxic dynamics. And here are the physical impacts of toxic dynamics. Many people overlook the physical consequences of unhealthy relationships. Chronic stress elevates cortisol. Sleep becomes lighter. The body holds tension in the shoulders, jaw, and stomach. Inner peace is not only emotional, it is biological. When you step away from environments that trigger constant stress, the nervous system begins to regulate again. Clarity returns, fatigue decreases, decision making becomes improved. Your body often recognizes toxicity long before your mind accepts it. Section or topic number 5. Rebuilding peace after release. How do you rebuild your peace after you release the toxic friendships or the toxic relationships. How do you rebuild your peace? Once you create the distance, there may be silence. That silence can feel unfamiliar. It may even feel lonely at first. But within that quiet space, identity begins to rebuild. Fill that space intentionally. Rest, reflect. Conversations that nourish rather than exhaust you. Be in conversation that nourishes you. Don't be in conversation that when you finish talking to the person, you feel exhausted and tired. Every time the person opens their mouth, you're just tired. Growth does not require rushing into new connections. It to replace old ones. So when you're growing, you don't necessarily need to rush into a new friendship. Give yourself space to grow and heal. Peace grows slowly. It is built through small, consistent choices that honors your well-being. Releasing toxic relationships is not about proving a point. It is about protecting your future self. It is about protecting who you are as an individual. Some people will not understand your boundaries because they benefited from the lack of them. I'm going to say that again. Some people will not understand your boundaries because they benefited from the lack of you not having boundaries. So let them misunderstand you. Peace is not something you negotiate away to maintain harmony. It is something you cultivate by choosing environments that allow you to remain whole. Today, ask yourself one honest question. Does the relationship I'm in expand who I am, or does it ask me to become smaller to survive it? Your answer will be the beginning of your healing. Your answer will be the beginning of your healing. Are your friendships expanding you or are they draining you? If your friendships are draining you, you have the answer to any questions asked about the friendships you're in or the relationships you're in. If you enjoyed this segment, let us know in the comment section. I will come back and say hello to you. I know Kimel is here. She's probably working why I'm not seeing her commenting in the group, in the comment section. All my YouTube viewers, thank you for being here. My TikTok viewers, thank you for being here. And you guys have a wonderful evening and see you tomorrow morning if my daughter don't get another asthma attack because Mr. Asthma has been showing out for the last 2 days. If she has an asthma attack, I more than likely would have to get her stabilized before I come live. So if you don't see me live in the morning, you know that's what it is. And I'm thinking maybe I should change the live to evenings. What do you guys think? If you watch this video to the end, share your suggestions in the comment section. Do you prefer morning or evening? And you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.